Hey photographers, it's Riley Photos. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. When I do videos for the channel, I often take quite a time to think about a subject, something that I think is going to be really interesting. And I try and put something together that explains that in my usual sarcastic, ultra sarky way. Today I thought I'd try and just be a little bit more natural, a bit more real. I thought I'd let you know what it's like being a working professional photographer. There are so many photographers on YouTube. I guess it's hard really to decide who to watch, who to listen to, and I kind of wonder really what the criteria for people watching is. Who do you believe? Who's telling you the truth? Who is successful and who isn't? What makes you kind of deserving to give advice as a professional photographer? Interestingly, a couple of weeks ago, I did a little community post. Now, okay, my photography community at the moment, I hope it gets bigger one day, but it's relatively small. Just shy of 9,000 subs, and I put this community post out, and I think there were 50 odd replies. But it was interesting what the replies were. In fact, I was a bit shocked that 3 of the reasons that I put this post, I think it said something along the lines of, what gives a photographer the right to give you advice. And there were 5 choices, but 3 of them got 0 votes, which really, really surprised me. Let's have a look at that post. So I asked, how do you decide if a photographer has earned the right to give you advice? Nobody thought if it was because they agreed with what that photographer was saying, which is kind of a little bit surprising. I thought some people would have said, yeah, if I agree with you, then we're on the same wavelength. I think the same way that you do. So if I agree with you on these things, then the other things that you're saying that I already don't know about, I'm probably going to agree with you on those. But look, nobody said that. If you like the look of them, now I put that in specifically. The reason is because I'm a dinosaur. I'm an older guy. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, 40 years. I think I worked out the other day, roughly on average, the weekly shoot, the amount of frames I take in a week, if I multiply that by the amount of times I've been working, I've taken just over 2 million frames. That is frightening, isn't it? 2 million pictures. God, so wonder my eyes aren't completely gaga. But anyway, I am still seeing pictures and I am still taking them. But it's interesting that nobody said if I like the look of the photographer. And I say that because, I struggle to get, I think while this video is being made, it's just gone over the 9,000, the subs, which is great. And I thank every last single one of you subscribers for supporting me and being in the slightest bit interested in what I have to say about photography. But there's a lot of people online, and it's dead easy to be a photographer now, or to put a magnetic sticker on the side of your car and say I'm a photographer, because there's nothing stopping anybody doing that. You can put an advert in your local newspaper and say, yeah, wedding photographer or portrait photographer or whatever, and there's nothing to say that you need a certain qualification. There's nothing to say that you need a certain amount of experience. And that is, buyer beware, isn't it? If you are buying these people's services, make sure that you check, if not how long they've been doing it or how professional they are, at least what equipment they're using, whether they're insured. That is a big thing. I pay a lot of money for insurance each year to make sure that the client is protected, and make sure that they're using good quality equipment, not something that is likely to break down or give cheap cheap things that are going to give poor results. But the reason that I asked that question is that there are a lot of young photographers online that are 20 something, or maybe even they've reached the grand old age of 30, and they have masses of subscribers, and on Instagram, followers or whatever. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because they all happen to be young and incredibly cool and attractive. Funny that, isn't it? So all these people have lots of followers. They're giving loads of advice about photography. I even heard one person the other day. They were pushing a product that they'd been clearly paid to sponsor, but they were saying that they had a photography business and they were really, really struggling because they were struggling to light subjects and they were struggling to compose subjects, but it was all okay because, look, this new app was out and, you should buy it because it does everything for you. Well, hang on a minute. If you're trading as a professional photographer and you struggle lighting an image and composing an image, should you really be a professional photographer? Should somebody out there really be relying on you to do their portrait or their wedding or something that really matters to them? Again, buyer beware. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because everybody says they don't consider that they like the look of the photographer when the photographers are giving advice, and yet the people that get followed the most are the good-looking people, basically, who are really people want to be like. I'm not Peter McKenna. I haven't got the fantastic hairdo and the cool looks and the tattoos and I'm not, but I have probably got a hell of a lot more experience than Peter. Look, Peter's a great photographer, by the way. You should follow the Peter McKinnon channel. Really, really good, great advice. Very, very talented. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is the people that people aspire to be like, then maybe buying into the the style, maybe more. Is it style over substance? I think probably when it comes to followers, yes, it is. So, but nobody put that. Nobody put if I like the look of them, and nobody put if they are a professional photographer. They're prepared to take advice off people if they're a professional photographer. Again, that surprised me. Professionals have to make a living out of their photography. So if they weren't any good, they'd have gone bust. They'd be bankrupt. They wouldn't be making a living. If they are making a good living, they're going to have to be pretty darn good. They've got to know their stuff because, as I said, there's a lot of people out there now. Digital photography has changed everything. Back in the day when you needed dark rooms and knowledge of lighting, where there was no Photoshop, you couldn't put anything right. It had to be done in camera. You had to get it right in camera. And when that was the case, when you were shooting on transparency, there was nowhere to hide. There was no way that you could put anything right in post-production afterwards. You had to do it right. You had to get it right first time. And in those days, it was the professionals people looked up to. And I think, if it had been, YouTube had been around then, it would have been the professionals. People would be saying, yeah, they're a professional photographer. Therefore, they make a living at it. Therefore, they know what they're doing. They do it every day in, day out, in the rain, in the shine, in the snow, whatever the weather throws at them, whatever the situation, whether it's a dark hall or like a really bright outside shot, or, a group of, sometimes I've done in football stadiums, I've had to do like a staff picture with, 800 staff on, or I could be doing a portrait of one person or then, 3 people. So as a professional photographer, you've done it all. You've been there, you bought the T-shirt. So it surprises me that nobody said if they're a professional, but they didn't. Nobody said that. 29% of the people said that they think a photographer has earned the right to give them advice if they've seen their photography and they were impressed. Now, that's a good point, and I agree with that. I think a lot of people are online giving photography advice, and you never see anything about their pictures. You just don't see what the quality of the stuff that they're shooting. They talk the talk, but actually, can they walk the walk? I don't know. Perhaps they can. Perhaps they just don't want to show you their pictures. Perhaps their pictures are for clients, and the client doesn't want. I'd love to show you me out and about shooting for my clients. I would really like to show you that. I'd like to show you how I do the shoot. And I'd like to show you the finished picture. The problem is my client needs that picture. My client wants to release them on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and things at a set time. They don't want me releasing them, spoiling the whole thing. I'd never get another job from them if I did that. And so I can't show you me at work because I can't show you the end result. And I think it's important. I like to show you the pictures that go with what I'm talking about. But I think if you have seen the photography from the photographer in the YouTube video, that's giving advice, then I think that is a big thing, and that is something that you should take into consideration. So I'm not surprised nearly a third of the people put that, but that wasn't the most. No. The most was 71% of people said if I learn something from them. So that's interesting. People are viewing YouTube predominantly, in the photography sector that is, predominantly to learn things, to learn a new skill, to learn a new technique. They're using it as an educational tool. It's a school. It's like the photography school, YouTube, clearly. It's interesting that I suppose it's slightly disingenuous because the question, I think you could only put one answer, so you had to choose one, and so it was the most important one, which I can get, because if I was going to learn something from somebody, I'd want to know first they knew what they were talking about. I don't know about you, but I'd want to be sure that maybe if you'd seen some of their pictures, you would think, well, they know what they're talking about. That's fair enough. 29%. Whether they're a professional or not, you would hope that they would know what they were talking about. If they're a professional, they make their living doing it. But hey, who knows? So it's interesting. So I'm going to take that on board and maybe try and do a little bit more in terms of explaining how I do things. Of course, if anybody's got anything that they're not quite sure about and they want to put it in the comments section, please do. I'll do my best to answer it. I'm not sure that I'll know everything, and I might not have the answers to everything, but I if I do know the answer, I'll let you know what I think. But maybe I should do more videos about new techniques. But new techniques, it's photography. Everything has been done before. That's something that you need to kind of realise. I mean, I did something on a new street photography technique the other day and was inundated with people in the comments saying, this isn't new, this has been done before. Well, of course it's been done before. Everything in photography pretty much has been done before. Other than photo manipulation, digital manipulation, when it comes to in-camera techniques, pretty much everything has been done. If you disagree with that, again, leave me a comment. Tell me something that you've seen recently that has never been done before, and I will go down to the baker's, buy a big, huge humble pie and eat it in front of you. I don't mind eating a bit of humble pie if I've got that wrong. But I think pretty much everything's been done before. Isn't that what inspiration is? I like to look at other photographers' work. Instagram is great for that, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the things that's really good about Instagram. You've got lots and lots of photographers' work on there, and you can get inspiration from it, and you can draw certain things from certain photographers and say, oh yeah, I really like that. I've got a film coming out very soon, or it might be out now actually. I'll leave a link at the end of this about shadows and the way that some photographers approach shadows. Because camera manufacturers are telling us in no uncertain terms that shadows need to be lifted. Let's get the details out of us, the shadows. Let's suck all the tones that we can out of the blackness and make, everything bright. Well, actually, I don't know if I agree with that. Some of the greatest photographers that, I really, really love, the Bill Brandts and whatnot. And, they've used blacks and shadows really, really well. That really dark detail. Well, it's not detail, it's shadow. There is no detail, that's the point. To my mind, a black and white image, I like to see, a pure black tone, a pure white tone, and then all the grey tones in between. For me, that's when, they sing. That's when the pictures really start, taking off, when they get like not a three-dimensional, but they get depth, because you've got the shadows and the highlights and all those tones. For me that works. And as I say, it was interesting that I thought I'd do something on shadows and how different photographers approach shadows in different ways. Check that out if you haven't already seen that. Anyway, I'm rambling. As I said before, if you want me to just chat more naturally, more authentically, rather than deliver up more scripted, thought out, videos, please leave me a comment. And if there are subjects that come up in photography, or if I'm out doing something, I'm more than happy to do, stuff on the cuff like this. This is completely unscripted. This is just me talking about photography generally, and what I think, and about that vote that I had. And everybody wants to learn something, apparently, so I will do my best to put some more photography stuff on, where everybody can learn new stuff or old stuff that we rehash and package up as new. So I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Let me know what you think, and onwards and upwards. Let's keep taking the pictures. And here's that video I was talking about, shadows. It's I thought it was interesting. Take a look.